The Law of the Stars. Jack Carter never asked for trouble. He was just a delivery pilot flying a rusty old ship called Lucky Dust. But that day, trouble found him in the deep silence of space. It started when he picked up a distress signal, a royal ship under attack by pirates. He could have ignored it. He should have ignored it. But Jack Carter didn't know how to walk away from someone in danger. He flew in, guns blazing. His ship wasn't made for combat, but Jack was fast and smart. He tricked the pirates into chasing him, then flew through an asteroid field. The pirates weren't so lucky. They crashed and burned. Jack turned back to the royal ship and offered help. A tall, elegant alien woman stepped onto his ship. Her eyes were silver and her voice calm. "I am Princess Alira of Velmora," she said. "You have saved me, and now you are bound by Galactic Code 497B. Jack blinked, confused. "Wait, what? What code? I didn't sign anything." A hologram appeared beside her, showing glowing alien text. The computer translated it slowly. "Any individual who rescues a royal bloodline member must participate in the ceremony of unity to avoid diplomatic violation." Jack read it twice, then said, "In English, please." Princess Alira tilted her head. "It means you must now begin the process of royal bonding with me." Jack laughed, then stopped when no one else did. "You're serious?" "I am," she said. "If you refuse, it is considered a hostile act and could lead to war between your people and mine." Jack stared at her, then the stars outside. "This is a joke, right? A bad sci-fi prank show?" But no one was laughing. A few hours later, he received a transmission from the Galactic High Council. A giant alien with 6 eyes looked into the screen and said, "Human Jack Carter, you have triggered Galactic Code 497B. You must complete bonding trials with the princesses of 5 royal systems you have affected by your heroic act," Jack shouted back. "I didn't affect anyone. I just saved one ship." The alien replied, "Your actions were broadcast, and now 5 royal bloodlines have claimed your interference as sacred involvement." Jack sat down, stunned. "So what happens if I don't go on these romantic trials?" "War," said the alien simply. "The Galactic Council cannot afford royal dishonor." That was the beginning. Jack Carter, simple pilot from Earth, was now a key player in preventing an interstellar war. Not with weapons, not with armies, but by attending weird romantic ceremonies with alien princesses. He didn't know their names yet, or their planets. But one thing was clear. He had to charm 5 powerful, unpredictable royal women, or watch humanity become a galactic enemy. The first trial was already set. A message popped up on his screen. "Proceed to planet Varela for trial 1, the Blade Kiss." Jack looked at the screen and muttered, "This day just keeps getting better." He started preparing his ship, extra fuel, translator chip, clean jacket. He wasn't sure what to wear to an alien romantic trial, but he had no time to think. Alira, the first princess, had already left with her guards. The High Council had given Jack one order: don't be late. As he launched into hyperspace, he stared into the stars and whispered, "How did I get here? All I did was try to help." Behind him, the galaxy was watching. Every royal house, every alien leader, every warrior and politician. The human had saved a princess, and now the laws of the stars had tied his fate to romance and politics. What Jack didn't know was this: someone didn't want peace. Someone was watching his journey from the shadows, and they were ready to stop him before he ever reached Varela. But for now, Jack flew forward, unaware. The countdown had begun. The fate of Earth rested on one man's awkward charm, and in the distance the first alien princess waited, cold as ice, her world unforgiving, her traditions deadly. Jack Carter had 5 trials ahead, 5 royal hearts to survive. One mistake and it was war. He sighed and said to himself, "Next stop, planet Varela, where rejection might just kill me." The Ice Princess and the Blade Kiss. The ship shook as it entered Varela's orbit. The planet below looked like a frozen gemstone, glowing with blue ice and silver clouds. Jack Carter sat in his pilot seat, jaw tight. He was cold, tired, and had no idea what the Blade Kiss even meant. He checked the screen again. Arrival confirmed. Royal trial begins immediately. No rest, no welcome, no warm drinks. Only danger, and a tradition that had already claimed 5 challengers in the past. All of them were dead. The landing bay was surrounded by guards in silver armor. Their eyes glowed faintly under crystal masks. They said nothing as Jack stepped out. The cold hit him like a wall. It wasn't just freezing, it was painful. A tall woman in black robes approached. Her voice was like ice cracking. "You are late by 30 seconds, human," Jack replied, teeth chattering. "Sorry, couldn't find my space boots." The woman didn't smile. "I am Vizura, keeper of trials. You must pass the ritual of the blade kiss to earn an audience with Princess Kalith. If you fail, your blood will warm the snow," Jack laughed nervously. "That's a joke, right?" Vizura didn't blink. "No," they led him into a circular arena of ice. Swords made of glowing crystal floated in the air, spinning slowly. In the center stood a woman with white hair and glowing blue eyes. She wore no armor, no crown, no smile, only a long gown made of frost that didn't melt. Princess Kalith looked at Jack like he was a bug under glass. "You are the reason I must follow this ridiculous law," she said. "I do not want a mate, especially not a warm-blooded fool from a forgotten planet." Jack raised a brow. "Wow, I'm feeling the love already." She stepped forward and drew a sword from the air. "The blade kiss is simple," she said. "Survive 1 minute with me in the ring or freeze where you stand." The crowd around the arena began to cheer, not for him, but for the fight, for the blood. Jack took a deep breath and muttered, "I really should have stayed on Earth." The duel began. Kalith moved like lightning, her blade slicing through the air. Jack dodged, barely, slipping on the ice. He had no weapon, no training, just panic and luck. She came at him again, faster. He rolled, jumped, ducked. "Hey, this is more like a murder trial than a romance," he shouted. Kalith didn't respond. She slashed at him, and her blade missed his neck by 1 inch. It hit a crystal behind him and shattered it. Suddenly, the arena shook, the ground cracked, and a deep rumble echoed through the air. Ice fell from the ceiling. Kalith stumbled, her eyes wide. "This isn't part of the trial," she whispered. Then the ice exploded. A shadow rose from below the arena, a black figure wrapped in smoke and metal. It moved like liquid, and it carried twin blades glowing red. Vizura screamed, "Assassin! Protect the princess!" Chaos broke out. Guards rushed in, but the assassin moved faster. Jack didn't think. He just acted. He tackled Kalith, pushing her away as the assassin's blade cut through the space they had just stood in. They rolled together across the ice, landing hard against a frozen wall. Jack looked at Kalith. "You okay, Ice Queen?" She looked stunned. "You saved me. Again." Jack grabbed a fallen crystal sword and faced the assassin. He didn't know how to fight, but he had fire in his chest. "You want to kill a princess?" he growled. "You'll have to go through the idiot from Earth first." The assassin rushed him. Jack swung wildly, barely blocking the first hit. The force threw him backward, then Kalith stepped beside him. "You are reckless," she said. "And maybe brave." She raised her own blade. "Let's kill this thing." Together they fought, 2 blades against 1, and somehow they won. The assassin fell, smoking, vanishing into shadow. No blood, no body, only silence. Kalith turned to Jack, breathing hard. "You passed the trial. Not because of skill, but because of sacrifice," Jack grinned. "That's me. Stupid but useful." Vizura approached, eyes wide. "Princess, the assassin used cloaking tech from the House of Skarn." Kalith nodded slowly. "Which means someone does not want peace." Jack looked at them both. "Okay, pause. What? Is the House of Skarn?" Kalith stared into the sky. "A royal house that vanished decades ago, if they're back. The galaxy is in danger." Jack swallowed hard. "I came here to kiss a sword, not start a war." Kalith walked past him, then stopped. "You may not be what I expected, human. But you are more than you appear." She vanished into the palace. Jack looked at the broken arena, the frozen blood, the watching stars. Trial 1 was over, and already someone wanted him dead. He looked up and said, "1 down, 4 to go, and I still have no idea what I'm doing." The assassin of Androna. The skies of Androna were red, not warm red like a sunset, but a bloody red that screamed danger. Jack Carter stood at the top of the landing ramp, his heart pounding. Below him, crowds of armored warriors stood in silence, not cheering, not smiling, just watching. "Great," Jack muttered. "No pressure at all." Princess Thalzira of Androna was known across galaxies. Warrior, ruler, executioner. She never lost a fight, never bowed to any man. And now, by the Galactic Code, she had to meet the human, the one who saved her rival and risked peace. To her, Jack wasn't a hero, he was a threat to the warrior code. She stepped forward, tall and sharp-eyed, her armor made of dragon scale and obsidian, her voice carried like thunder. "Human, you will not win me with words or weakness." Jack raised an eyebrow. "I was hoping for a handshake, but sure, we can skip straight to the death glares." A low murmur spread through the crowd. Princess Thalzira pointed to a giant ring of fire and steel behind her. "You will enter the pit of blades," she said. "Last one standing earns the right to speak." Jack looked at the pit, then back at her. "You know, where I come from, we usually do dinner first." She didn't laugh. She turned and walked away, her cape slicing the air like a blade. Jack sighed. Why is every royal woman in this galaxy allergic to jokes? Later, in the waiting chamber, he met an old warrior named Karn. Karn handed him basic armor and said, "Don't try to win the fight. Try to survive it. She doesn't want your blood. She wants your fear." Jack nodded. "Fear I can do. I've been terrified since Varela." The battle pit opened. A roar of fire rose, and Jack stepped inside. The arena had spinning traps, flaming pillars, and 10 other warriors, testing him before he could face Thalzira. The trial wasn't just strength, it was survival. Jack ducked blades, rolled under traps, and outsmarted the others. He wasn't the strongest, but he was fast, lucky, and desperate. One by one, the other warriors fell, some unconscious, some dragged out bleeding. At last, it was just him, burned, bruised, breathless, and Thalzira stepping into the fire with calm steps and cold eyes. "Now," she said, "let's see what your fear tastes like." Their fight was fast, brutal, beautiful. Jack barely blocked her strikes. Her blade moved like lightning. He didn't attack. He just survived. Again and again, he dodged, rolled, parried. Time passed, and the crowd began to change. They weren't mocking him anymore. They were impressed. Finally, Thalzira pulled back. "You lasted long enough," she said. "Speak." Jack dropped his sword, gasping. "I didn't come here to impress you. I came here to stop a war." He looked her in the eye and added, "And I think someone out there wants me to fail." She tilted her head. "And you think I care?" Suddenly, the fire pits exploded. A blast tore through the arena. Smoke, screams, chaos. From the shadows, the black-armored assassin Ritu turned, the same figure from Varela. Only now it wasn't alone. 2 more joined it, leaping into the arena, blades drawn. Thalzira growled, "This is sacred ground." Jack stood beside her. Guess they don't respect traditions. Together they fought, this time as allies. Jack blocked for her. She struck with rage. The assassins were faster than before. One stabbed Jack in the leg. He fell, screaming. Thalzira roared and cut the attacker down. "Stay down, human," she barked. "No way," Jack said, grabbing a spear. "This is becoming a team sport." In the chaos, one assassin dropped a metal disc. Jack picked it up and saw a strange symbol, an ancient one. It glowed with red energy and pulsed like a heartbeat. Karn, the old warrior, ran to him and gasped, This belongs to the Skarn blood cult. They were wiped out centuries ago." Jack looked at the sky. "Well, they're back. And they're not sending love letters." The battle ended with smoke, silence, and bodies. 3 assassins dead, 1 missing. Thalzira stood over the pit, her sword dripping black ash. She turned to Jack and said, "You are not weak. You are a fool. But you may be a necessary one." He nodded, holding his bleeding leg. "Thank you, I think." She helped him stand. "You have passed, human. Not because of skill, but because you refused to die." As Jack limped back to his ship, the disc still pulsing in his pocket, he whispered, 3 trials left. And now I know this isn't about romance anymore. It's about survival. And somewhere, across the galaxy, the Skarn watched him through hollow eyes. Their message was clear. Jack Carter must not reach the next princess alive. Secrets of the Galactic Code. Jack Carter couldn't sleep. Not after Androna, not after fighting assassins in a pit of fire, not after finding out an ancient blood cult wanted him dead. He sat alone in his ship, staring at the glowing disc from the assassin. Its symbol pulsed with red light. Karn had called it Skarn, but Jack had a feeling it meant more than that. Suddenly, a private message appeared on his ship's console. No sender, no trace, just one line. If you want the truth, come to Station Orvax 7, Dock 19, alone. Jack didn't hesitate. He knew a trap when he saw one, but he also knew the truth wouldn't come to him. He had to go to it. Orvax 7 was a dying space station on the edge of the neutral zone. Dark corridors, flickering lights, no law, no rules. Jack arrived quietly, keeping his jacket zipped and his eyes sharp. Dock 19 was quiet, too quiet. The door slid open and he stepped inside a dark room. A cloaked figure stood in the corner, face hidden in shadows. "You're braver than I thought." The voice was soft, old, and metallic. Jack kept his hand near his weapon. "Are you the one who sent the message?" The figure nodded. "I was once a high scribe of the Galactic Council. My name is Vareen, and I helped write the very code that now traps you." Jack's heart pounded. "Then tell me, why does the Galactic Code force me into romance? Why do I have to risk my life just to kiss alien royalty?" Vareen stepped closer. "Because the code was never meant to be about love. It was about control. Hundreds of years ago, when the galaxy was divided by war, the Council created the Ceremony of Unity, a symbolic ritual where royal families bonded with outsiders to end conflict. But over time, the code was corrupted, the ritual became law, and law became weapon. Now, Vareen said, royal houses use the code to bind, punish, or even eliminate threats in the name of diplomacy. Jack frowned. "So I'm not a hero. I'm a tool." Vareen nodded. "A very dangerous one, because unlike others, you've survived. You've earned the trust of 2 princesses and inspired their people. The last time someone united that much power, the galaxy burned." Jack felt cold. "I didn't ask for this," Vareen replied. "No one ever does." Suddenly a shot rang out. The wall behind Jack exploded. Guards in black armor stormed in. "Council Elite," Vareen shouted. "They found me! Run!" Jack pulled his blaster and fired, dodging behind cover. Vareen tossed him a small crystal. "Take this, data key. It holds everything. The real code, the names of those controlling it, and the truth about the Skarn." Jack caught it just as Vareen was hit. The old scribe fell, smoke rising from his chest. "Go," he gasped. "Tell the princesses. The code is alive." Jack ran through fire and chaos. His ship barely escaped the station as it exploded behind him. Back on his ship, breathing hard, he stared at the crystal. It glowed white, pure, silent, full of secrets. He plugged it into the console. Files appeared, locked and coded. He only understood one thing. The Skarn weren't just back, they were inside the council. And worse, they were planning something called the Silence Protocol. Before he could read more, his screen flashed red, a message. "New trial assigned, Planet Zatari, Princess Revia. Warning, this territory is under Skarn watch." Jack slammed his fist on the console. "Of course it is." Later, as he stared into the dark of space, he recorded a message to himself. "Princess Revia Zatari, next trial." But it's not about romance anymore. It's about exposing the code, stopping the Skarn, and staying alive long enough to warn someone. The ship jumped to light speed, and far away on Zatari, a princess prepared for a trial she didn't want. A soldier placed a blade at her door and whispered, "If the human reaches you, kill him." Because secrets were no longer safe, and Jack Carter wasn't just part of the game, he was the key to breaking it, the princess who refused to love. Zatari was not what Jack Carter expected. From space, it looked like gold dust in the dark, but on the ground, it was a world of red sand, heat, and silence. No welcome, no fanfare, no warning. The Zatari guards wore long robes and black masks. They said nothing. They simply led Jack through sun-scorched streets. The palace was carved from ancient stone, cold despite the heat. And at the very center, behind a silver door, waited Princess Revia. She did not stand when he entered. She sat on a throne of black glass, her eyes hard and distant. Her voice was quiet, but sharp like a blade. "So, the human finally arrives." Jack stayed calm. Jack Carter, professional galaxy walker, occasional hero, full-time confused. She didn't smile. "Do not waste words, Earthman. You are not welcome here. He stepped forward. Then why did the council send me? Revia stood slowly. She wore no crown, only scars, one across her cheek, another on her shoulder, marks of war, not fashion. Because the council enjoys cruel games, she said. My brother died in a war started by humans. Now they ask me to stand in a room with one and pretend to care. Jack didn't speak. There was nothing he could say to make that kind of pain go away. Revia walked to a small table and placed a dagger on it. The trial is this, she said. Stay in this palace for 3 days. Survive without lying, without running, without fighting. If you pass, I will not declare war. If you fail, I will. Jack nodded. I've had worse first dates. The first day was quiet, too quiet. Servants watched him with cold eyes, guards followed every step, and Revia, she stayed hidden behind stone walls in silence. Jack spent the day exploring the palace. He found murals of Zatari heroes, all warriors, all lost in war. At night he tried to sleep, but the heat pressed against him like a warning. Something in this place didn't want him there, not just the people, the walls themselves. Day 2, Jack was summoned to the garden. Revia sat near a fountain, staring at dry roots. This used to be a healing garden, she said. Now nothing grows. Jack sat across from her. Why do you stay here then? She looked up. Because someone must remember. They spoke little, but Jack saw something in her eyes. Grief held like a shield. She wasn't cold because she hated him. She was cold because she was tired of losing everyone. That night someone tried to poison him. The water tasted off, too bitter. He spat it out just in time, then pretended to sleep. At midnight a shadow crept into his room, blade in hand, silent, deadly. Jack grabbed a torch and struck fast. The assassin fled, leaving a trail of blood through the halls. Revia appeared moments later, eyes blazing. You brought danger to my house, she said. Jack threw the poisoned cup at her feet. Someone inside your palace wants this trial to fail. And they're not working for me. She stared at the blood, then at him. No one here would betray me. Jack pointed at the window. Then look again, princess. Day 3 was war and silence. Revia investigated her guards. Jack stayed near the garden, avoiding ambushes. That afternoon she approached him again. No guards this time. My brother trusted someone, she said. They turned on him, sold his position to your fleet. He died screaming on the battlefield. Jack looked at her, tired but honest. And I hated your people for what they did to Earth. But I'm not here to repeat that. I'm here to break the cycle. She stared at him for a long time, then whispered, You're not like the others. You talk like a soldier, not a diplomat. Jack nodded. Because I've lost people too. That night a message reached the palace. A second assassin cell had been found under the royal kitchen. The Skarn were everywhere, even here, hidden in sand and silence. Revia sat beside Jack in the war room. Someone wants the trials to fail, Jack said. They don't want peace. They want chaos. And they're using the Galactic code to get it. Revia nodded slowly. I don't know if I trust you, human, but I believe you want to stop this. She stood and picked up the ceremonial blade, her voice louder now. I declare the trial passed. I will not wage war on your world. Then, for the first time, she looked at him, not with hate, but with understanding. I still cannot love you, she said, but I will fight beside you. Jack smiled. Good enough for me. As Jack left Zatari, his heart heavy and hopeful, he looked back one last time. He wasn't winning princesses, he was winning allies. And maybe rewriting the code itself. But far away in the council chambers, a shadowy figure whispered, The human unites them. Next time, we end him. And a deadly plan was already in motion, one that would begin the moment Jack reached the next world, a planet that didn't believe in peace at all. The trial of all hearts. The invitation wasn't a request, it was an order, sent from the Galactic High Council directly to Jack Carter's ship. You are summoned to the Convergence Summit aboard Station Polaris. All 5 royal houses will be present. The future of peace shall be decided. Jack leaned back in his chair, reading the message again. He had survived 4 impossible trials. He had fought assassins, dodged political traps, and gained the reluctant trust of 4 alien princesses. Now they would all be in one place, together, staring at him, judging him, and maybe deciding the fate of Earth. "This is either the beginning of peace," he muttered, "or a very expensive funeral." Station Polaris floated between star systems, a massive wheel of steel and energy protected by ancient laws and even older weapons. Inside, the grand chamber was filled with leaders, soldiers, diplomats, and watchers from every corner of the galaxy. And at the center, 5 thrones for 5 princesses, each throne made from the materials of their homeworlds: ice from Varela, flame stone from Androna, sand crystal from Zatari, vines from the jungle moon of Lissari, and cloud steel from Eris Prime. Jack stood at the center of the ring, alone. His heart pounded as the voices around him fell silent. Then, one by one, the princesses entered, each wearing formal robes, each carrying the weight of worlds. Princess Calith of Varela stepped forward first, her eyes sharp and unreadable. "Jack Carter, you saved my life, but I do not trust easily." Thalzira of Androna followed, her voice strong. "You fought beside me like a warrior, but this is not a battlefield." Revia of Zatari stood behind them silent, but her gaze spoke volumes. Then came the 2 Jack had not yet met. Princess Lyra of Lissari, wrapped in living vines that moved with her breath, and Princess Erin of Eris Prime, glowing softly with light from within, her feet not quite touching the ground. Lyra smiled faintly. "I've watched your journey, human. You've survived what few could." Erin tilted her head. "You carry chaos with you, but also change. That makes you dangerous and valuable." A council elder raised his hand. "Let the trial of all hearts begin." Jack stepped forward. "I'm not here to charm anyone. I'm here to tell the truth." He held up the crystal Virene gave him. "This contains the real galactic code, the original one. And it proves the Skarn have infiltrated the council." Gasps echoed through the room. One diplomat shouted, "Lies! Human trickery!" But the crystal projected glowing symbols, old laws, corrupted rules, hidden names, proof, undeniable and raw. Princess Calith read it silently, then said, "This is true." Revia stepped beside Jack. "The Skarn were hiding inside our palaces, our kitchens, our guards. They wanted us to fail." Thalzira spoke next. "The question now is not whether Jack Carter is telling the truth. The question is what we do with it." Before anyone could answer, the station lights flickered. Then, total darkness, alarms howled, and the chamber shook violently. Explosions echoed from deep within the station. From the ceiling, black armored assassins dropped into the chamber. Skarn, dozens of them, maybe more. Screams filled the air. Guards rush it in, and chaos broke loose. Jack pulled a hidden blade from his boot. "Of course they attack now," he growled. "Perfect timing." Calith threw him a plasma pistol. "Then let's give them a perfect fight." The princesses stood together, fighting side by side for the first time. Lyra summoned roots from the station floor, crushing attackers. Erin lit up like a star, blinding the enemy. Thalzira tore through assassins with pure rage. Revia fought quietly but precisely. Every strike a death sentence. Jack covered their backs, dodging blasts, firing shots, blocking blades. This wasn't a trial. It was war. One of the Skarn commanders charged at the thrones, targeting the council elder. Jack dove in the way, taking a blade through the arm. He screamed but didn't fall. Instead, he stabbed the assassin through the chest. "You want the galaxy?" he hissed. "Take it in pieces." The room fell silent again. Dozens of Skarn lay dead. The rest retreated, vanishing into shadow. Blood stained the floor. The crystal projector still blinked, forgotten in the chaos. Later in the recovery chamber, Jack sat with his arm wrapped and eyes heavy. The 5 princesses stood before him. Calith spoke first. "Today, you fought not as a challenger, but as a protector." Thalzira nodded. "You are no longer part of a trial." Revia placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are part of something greater now." Lyra and Erin spoke together. "We vote for peace." The council stood to vote one by one, and for the first time in centuries, all 5 royal bloodlines stood in agreement. They would not only rewrite the code, they would rebuild the galaxy. Jack closed his eyes and whispered, One trial left. And it's not about love anymore. It's about everything. But high above, hidden in a satellite cloaked in shadows, a figure watched the broadcast and spoke into a dark receiver. The human has united the hearts, then we'll break them all at once. Begin the final protocol, romance or war. It began with silence, not a word, not a signal, not a warning. Then Earth disappeared from the galactic feed. All transmissions went dark. The human homeworld was gone from every star map, just a flicker, then nothing. Jack Carter stared at the screen in the Polaris station command deck. His voice cracked. Did they just black out my entire planet? A council technician nodded slowly. The transmission was jammed from inside the solar system. Princess Kalith stepped forward. They're not hiding anymore. They're attacking. Princess Revia gritted her teeth. This is the Skarn's final move. Jack clenched his fists. They're going after Earth because I'm from there. Because they know it's the last place that hasn't bowed. Council alarms blared red. A message flashed on screen. Unauthorized fleet entering human sector. Vessels identified. S-class shadow ships. Origin unknown. Jack's heart dropped. They're bringing war to my home. He turned to the princesses. I need a ship. I'm going back. Thalzira stepped in front of him. You won't make it alone. This is a full invasion. Kalith placed a hand on her sword. You won our loyalty. Now we fight with you. Aaron's voice echoed like wind. 5 royal fleets will stand behind Earth. Lyra touched the roots beneath her throne. The galaxy won't let the Skarn burn another world. Jack looked at all of them. Warriors, rulers, once strangers, now something more. He nodded once. Then let's end this. The royal fleets formed in the void between stars, thousands of ships, each from different systems, all under one banner. Peace through unity, not fear. Jack stood at the helm of the Unity Blade, a command cruiser built from shared technology. He wore no crown, no medals, only a worn flight jacket and a determined stare. As they jumped into Earth's orbit, the truth hit them like fire. The Skarn had surrounded the planet. Dark ships blotted out the stars. Earth's satellites were gone, space stations burning on the surface, cities without power, skies full of ash. But Earth had not surrendered. Fighter jets rose from bunkers. Humans fought with tooth and nail. And one thing was clear, they were still standing. Aboard the Skarn flagship, the true leader finally appeared. Not a monster, not a machine, but a man. Once a member of the High Council, thought dead. His name was Varric, and his voice was pure venom. He spoke across frequencies, his face projected into every fleet. This galaxy is weak. Unity makes you soft. Only fear can bring peace, Jack replied through the open channel. Funny, he said, because fear is what's about to die. The final battle began. Starships collided in orbit. Missiles screamed through vacuum. The Unity Blade cut through the darkness like a spear. Jack led the charge, firing, dodging, commanding, surviving. The princesses each led their fleets. Thalzira in the front lines. Kalith disabling enemy systems. Revia targeting command centers. Aaron and Lyra shielding civilians and rescue ships. It wasn't a war of destruction. It was a war of protection. Jack finally boarded the Skarn flagship with an elite squad. Inside, dark halls echoed with the sound of fire and betrayal. At the heart of the ship, Varric waited, surrounded by guards. You cannot stop the code, he hissed. It is older than all of us. Jack stepped forward. Maybe. But we just rewrote it. He threw the crystal Varine had given him, now pulsing bright white. It triggered a network pulse across every council channel. The new code activated. Peace not by forced bonding, but by voluntary alliance. Trials replaced by diplomacy. Choice over control. Varric screamed, drawing a blade. Jack blocked, countered, and fought. It wasn't elegant. It was brutal, raw, desperate. Finally, Jack pinned him down. This isn't about me winning, he said. It's about no one else having to do what I did. He walked away, leaving Varric trapped as the ship's power core melted down. The battle ended in hours, but its echoes would last centuries. Earth was saved, not by fleets alone, but by unhing. Across worlds. Jack stood before the Galactic Council once more. He was offered medals, titles, and command. He refused them all. "I don't want to rule," he said. "I just want to live." Princess Caliph approached him after the ceremony. "Then where will you go?" Jack smiled. "I've got 5 planets to visit. And this time no one's forcing me to flirt," Revia smirked. "No blades this time?" He laughed. "No promises." Later, under a quiet sky on a peaceful world, Jack looked up at the stars. The code was rewritten, the galaxy reborn. He had fallen into madness, trials, danger, and pain, but somehow he made it through. Not by being the strongest, not by being the smartest, but by being human, stubborn, flawed, emotional, hopeful, and honest. Jack Carter, once a nobody, was now the man who stopped a galactic war, not with a weapon, but with a heart. And somewhere in the shadows beyond the stars, new dangers waited. But that was a story for another time.